Hey guys, welcome to my first video about this is my chronic fatigue syndrome story. Jumping right into it. I served, if you can believe it, I served 8 years, technically 8 years in the Army Reserves. I joined when I was 17, did basic training between my junior and senior year, and I was supposed to do my second part of the training, the technical training, the summer after my senior year, but I'd gotten braces, and like I checked ahead of time with like my recruiter and the unit in my town, and they were like, yeah, it's fine. And, you know, and I go up to the processing place to leave for technical training, and they were like, nah. So they sent me home, and I had to wait another year, so I went the next summer after that, so it was 2 years. And I guess to give you guys kind of a picture of what I was like before I got sick, if you follow my channel, yeah, I have autistic catatonia. I have a stutter that shows up uninvited all the time, yeah, and my tics come and go. None of this stuff I had before. I mean, I've always been autistic, obviously, but I had some stimming behaviors as a kid, obviously, but they were never so many, and a lot of that is just sort of the more I've worked through my trauma and internalized ableism and got to a place where I'm comfortable stimming in front of people, you know, they're showing up more because of that, and because I'm not shut down and depressed and like overloaded all the time. It's partly that, but it's also partly because before, you know, when I got sick, my nervous system was damaged, and so I lost a lot of my ability to, you know, regulate internally. I can't self-regulate as much as I'm used to, so stimming more to deal with my environment and all that kind of thing. I mean, it goes without saying that obviously being in the Army, I was much more active. I did yoga, I did dance, you know, all that stuff. Like, I was physically able to, I mean, just by itself, the fact that I, you know, did basic training, I joined the Army, like, very, very physically intense, you know, very, so obviously, like, who I was as a person before, you know, I wasn't on medications, like, I didn't struggle a whole lot through school, yeah, so yeah, anyway, so the technical training, I don't get sick very often, I just don't, so at the technical training, I got sick. It was like a weekend, you're allowed to go, like, there was this sort of campy, like, off-post, it wasn't off-post, but it was just this, I don't know, this retreat thing that you could go to one of the weekends, and I went, and, you know, I woke up, it was like a Saturday morning, and I was sick. I could feel like my throat was sore, you know, that feeling of, you know, you're getting sick. So I was just like, great, like, best time to get sick is away at a 3-month military training when you're, like, worked to the bone anyway. And, you know, that afternoon as I got back, got off the bus and had to walk back to my area, my unit area building. It wasn't far, but it was raining, and I know that made me more sick, I think. You know, as soon as I got back, I took my wet clothes off and I took a hot shower and thought I'd be fine, but come the evening, my fever spiked super fast. Never in my life have I had a fever this high. Never have I ever felt chills like this. I was literally asking my fellow, like, bunkmates to borrow their blankets. They wouldn't let me, but because I was just that cold. And anyway, evening rolls around and everyone has to go outside for the evening, like, roll call formation. And I'd been in bed, like, since I got home because I was, like, feeling sick. And I remember when I went to sit up on my bed, it was like my arms could not hold up the weight of my upper body. Like, it took so much effort, and to stand up and to walk, like, my body was made of bricks. I've never felt fatigue like this it was, I mean, I knew something was up. I was like, holy crap, I've never been this sick before. But I'm stubborn, and I didn't say anything, and I went out to the formation, and it was instantly apparent to everybody else that I was not okay. People started crowding around me, and I'm like, are you, like, 'cause I was very sick. I was very visibly sick. So they went and got a bunch of, like, the sergeants, and the sergeants freaked out. And they took me inside, and they took my temperature. And to this day, I remember it was 104.7, and everyone freaked out, rushed to the hospital. I was two days in the hospital that I don't remember. I know that they, like, wouldn't let me have blankets, and they were icing me, trying to get my fever down, like, that kind of thing. And then I was put on quarters, like, sick bay, whatever, for a week after. And I recovered, whatever. And then not very long after that, not long at all, shoot. It was, yeah, not long after that, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought a bit, that I don't remember the whole situation, but I ended up in someone else's bunk. It was a Saturday, like, I don't know, it was a cleaning day, and it was just chill. So I was over on someone's bunk, having kind of convulsions, and if you know what tic tacs are, that's basically, I mean, I know now looking back that was what was happening. I wasn't having a seizure or anything. It was a tic tac. First time I ever had anything like that. And people were like, OMG, and so a couple of the bigger female soldiers kind of helped carry me out of the bay and down the stairs. And so it was in the evening, and so, there's that bugle call, like the thing that plays in the morning and in the evening. And it went off right as we were walking out, so it was like, I don't know, like close to my ear. And it went off, and my body, the way my nervous system responded to that was just unreal. My body collapsed underneath me. It's like I felt my system just go completely haywire because of the noise, and I felt like it hurt. It was, oh, goodness gracious. Sorry guys. Yeah, it was painful. Spent the night in the hospital again, and they were like, oh, you're I remember they told me, oh yeah, you're just constipated. Indeed. So, but that's a very vivid memory. It was very soon after that. And, I don't have a very specific, like, timeline, because the whole time when this all started was very, very fuzzy for me, but I know that it was after that summer of training that my life went to shit. It did. That's when it all started, and I just went downhill, and I went, that scared the living crap out of me, sorry guys. So, I'm having some really intense tickets. I might not be able to finish this video, guys. It's been a minute since I've taken that bad. Yeah, my life, that's when my life started to fall apart, really fast. Basically, but what I understand about how PTSD works so far, for me anyway, is the way I like tell people, or the way I like to explain it, is that my body remembers things, bad things, trauma, better or more, or before my brain does. So my body's responding to triggers and things, and my brain doesn't even know what's going on. So, I was sick, and, in the military, this was, many years ago, I can't remember, 4, maybe 5, that I started every night before I had to go do my weekend with the military, I'd start having panic attacks, and just bad. I would fall apart, I couldn't do it, and I didn't know why I was panicking so bad about going to serve and doing my drill. You know, and I know now that, like, there was some trauma, military trauma, that just, every time I had to go to drill, there was a hardcore trigger, and I couldn't. Really serious, like, PTSD stuff. I was in and out of the hospital for a period of about a year, psychiatrically you can't see it, but, like, my legs are it's exhausting, guys. This is exhausting. Hospitalized multiple times, like 5 times in a period of 6 months. It was less than that, 4 months. Because I kept falling apart. I had suicide attempts. You know, I was never diagnosed with depression or any, like, borderline, none of that. None of that. It was all PTSD related. I would panic and I would lose my ability to respond appropriately, and to cope. So that's kind of like the zenith of my life falling apart. But yeah, it's very clear that that sickness, while away at training, destroyed my nervous system, and it just slowly got worse and worse. And I'm still putting all the pieces together. You know, so over the course of this last year, things getting much worse. My development of autistic catatonia, and you know, the tics, all of this is neurological stuff. The catatonia is neurological. And you can see now, as I just started ticking again, and I'm having these, whatever these are, mini tic attacks, because my nervous system, like yesterday and the day before, preceding this onset of tics and tic attacks, I was much more physically active than I had been in a long time. And for those of you who don't know, like, I'm not on my catatonia medication anymore. Well, I wasn't, and I'm going to go back on it today, because obviously I need it. I know this is scattered. Basically what's happening is, because my nervous system is damaged, I have less and less resources to cope with things. So my sensory system, you know, especially because, you know, like I said, the last couple of days, I've done more, and I'm exhausted, like hardcore chronic fatigue. Sorry. Airplane. So I'm exhausted, my body's exhausted, and so I'm losing a lot of ability to, my nervous system is just fried, and that's why, like, tics are coming back with a vengeance. You know, this tic attack thing, because neurologically, like, all my senses can't handle anything. I have also dysautonomia, which started real bad a year ago when I had my first catatonia. If you don't know what dysautonomia is, basically it's a irregulation of the autonomic nervous system. And I don't want to get into it because it's so complicated. But you know, started having palpitations. Like, so my clue that I'm starting to get worse. I'm starting to not do very well. Starting to have more symptoms is, you know, I'm having the heart palpitations, I'm having the autonomic dysfunction with the catatonia, and the tics are coming back, and my temperature regulation is fucked up, and among other things, I don't have my notebook out here, but it is. There's being a sharp decline right now because my body's just spent. And this is what happens. My nervous system takes a vacation and forces me to deal with everything. But I hope that was coherent. That's a bit of the backstory of the sickness that wrecked my nervous system and why everything's so different and why I'm having tics all of a sudden. And anyway, you guys, I'm going back on my medication, my catatonia medication today, because obviously I've reached a point where it's bad enough that I do need to get back on that medication. Oh gosh. Oh, it's exhausting. Anyway, I'm gonna end this and go inside because the longer I'm out here, the worse I get. That's all I got for you. Stay classy, stim freely, and I'll catch you next time.